Unfolded, season 3, episode 31, under new management. I am your host, Eric, with my main man right over there, Ron. How are you tonight?
Doing okay.
We have some technical difficulties going on right now. So we are a weekly podcast. Every Friday night at 6 p.m., we broadcast covering all of the top sports stories going on in the sports world today. We are going to try to get through this tonight as easy as possible. Look who's back. Look who's
Yeah,
back.
I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to figure it out myself on my end. Live TV, Eric. Live
Yes,
TV.
yes, yes. So if you're joining us live, obviously you have the opportunity to chime in during our discussions and continue all of the great sports talk as we go through everything that is happening in the sports world today. So, Ron, there's a lot to cover. A lot of stuff that just broke within the last hour or so. Um,
Yeah.
so our leadoff story here is going to be Anthony Davis. He signed an extension now with the Los Angeles Lakers. What's your thoughts on this deal? This is going to be fun tonight.
Well, uh, I there's always injury woes follow him through this, and they got to be nervous that they're going to actually get with.
Yeah, listen, we talked about last week with Jaylen Brown and how upset you were about that deal. But this extension now, 3 years, $186 million, which his average salary now, his annual salary will be $62 million a year, which will be the richest in NBA history. So we were upset about Jaylen Brown and what was coming. You've got a guy now that currently had 2 years left on his deal at $84 million. This deal brings him to 2028. But in the 4 seasons with the Lakers, 4 seasons, I like that. In the 4 seasons with the Lakers, Anthony Davis has played 194 out of a possible 328 games. That's only 59%, Ron. Would somebody who's 59% of the time on the job deserve to be the highest paid player in the NBA?
No, look, and I'm one of those true believers that if you're not the best in the league, you shouldn't be getting paid the most money. I think there is definitely a lopsidedness going on in the sports world, and especially now the NBA. Look, when you talk about best players, it's got to start with like the Joker. Those guys are the ones that are the best players, and those guys should be the ones that get the money. To be honest with you, I don't like the whole super max thing, because now you're starting to pay players that are now overpriced, and it really is going to come down to they're basically going to price the fans, and
Yeah,
when you
eventually
look
ticket
at it,
prices,
only
right?
the rich
Everything goes
people are
up.
going to be able to go to a game.
Yeah. No, listen, when he's healthy, obviously one of the more dominant players in the league, 24.6 points, 10.1 rebounds, and 3 assists with LA, just in his time in LA. But again, it just blew my mind when I'm looking at 59% of the time, we're going to pay this man $62 million on average every season now for the next 5 years. I just don't understand it. I don't know what the Lakers mentality was. That's where I think the disconnect has to happen. How does an organization sit back and look at it? No different than what New Orleans did with Zion. And you
Right.
made him, you pay that big contract, and what happened? I think he played what, 20% last season, if that. These
Yeah.
are the guys that we're giving money to. So we sit back, and you could be upset about Jaylen Brown's contract. The
At
man
least he
played,
plays. At least
right?
he plays.
So earn your money. To me, this was ridiculous on the Lakers' part. I don't get it. And again, they're trying to have a guy to build upon, because once LeBron is done, which is probably a year or two away. But this guy is not going to be on the court for you anyway.
Yeah, no, and frankly, I would never have given him an extension. Period. I would have probably tried to move him next year.
And I want to thank Kenny for joining
And
us.
I don't think it would be even possible.
The big dog's in the house tonight. Kenny, thank you for joining us. Ron, we're done with Anthony Davis tonight. What do you think? You want to talk a little bit more about Anthony Davis? I don't think you do. I don't.
No, I just don't like what I'm seeing. The league in general. You know,
it's only going to get worse, and this is the problem because of these contracts with the television deals and some of these, other money that comes into the NBA now. You're going to start to see guys that honestly don't deserve it, and it's going to continue to happen. Trash moves.
Yeah, no, it's going to happen probably in a week or so.
Yeah. James, thanks for joining us as well. Right, there's going to be guys out there, and again, if you look at the fact that anytime there's an extension now or these supermax deals, we're going to be talking about a guy that's making over $100 million a year in the next couple of years per season. Absolutely insane to think about. Yeah. And guys that don't, to your point, deserve it. They probably don't deserve it.
No.
All right, my friend. Let's move on to some NFL. A lot of stories out of the NFL this week. Big story coming out of Indianapolis. Running back Jonathan Taylor. He's requested a trade. Should the Colts actually consider moving on from him?
Yeah, probably. I guess I don't know. I mean, it's like we hear these stories now every week, and again, it's time between the money being thrown around and then players that basically are asking for trades. It is tiresome, and especially if they give you one destination that they want to be traded to. That's absurd. I mean, I can understand a player saying, hey, I want to be traded. I don't want to play here because I don't care for the organization and what their direction is. I get that, and that might be the case with Jonathan Taylor. So he's not going to be happy. At least he didn't say he wants to go to a certain team. But it is hard for a team to trade a guy when it's public and you want to be moved.
Yeah, so the organization already said they're not going to do it. Jim Irsay, we know that ownership. He's like, absolutely not. James, great point, right? Running backs aren't as valuable now. And some of these guys that are making these demands, you start to look back and say, wait a minute, you could be hurting yourself in the future. Yeah. But here's the Colts organization. Listen, right now in that quarterback room, you're looking at Sam Ehlinger, Gardner Minshew, and the rookie Anthony Richardson. They're not going to be throwing the football. They're not going to be an explosive offense without Jonathan Taylor. I understand why they don't want to get rid of him. Had a breakout year in 2021, 1,800 yards, over 1,800 yards and 18 touchdowns. But last season, again, another injury. And you sit back and look at the fact, this is what blows my mind, Ron. When I'm looking at the contract, right, he made over the last 5 years, it's like $7 million. So he's not paid as one of the top running backs. So I could see why he's asking for more money. But the kicker here is next season, he's an unrestricted free agent. So to me, this would scare me if I'm the Colts, because basically what you're saying is, pay me, you want me to pay you now, but you may not feel comfortable enough knowing that you're going to continue to play. Whereas to an Aaron Judge last season bid on himself, went out, broke the home run record, and got paid handsomely for it. Jonathan Taylor, you have that opportunity. If you rush for 1,500 yards, over 2,000 yards total, from scrimmage, think about the money you can get. But yet you're basically saying, look, I want money or trade me. And to me, that scares me when you're a player with that mentality, because that just means you don't want to play.
Yeah, and what does it take to make somebody happy, right? I mean, look, I'm not saying that the Colts are some fantastic organization. They have a crackpot for a coach. I mean, not a coach,
owner.
an owner, and and that just oozes insanity and chaos in the organization. And judging by what we have seen with the quarterback roulette, that's what. And this is a player that is obviously getting. He doesn't want to play there because of the fact there's no stability. And I don't know the exact reason, but I would think that it has a lot to do with their decision making on quarterback and the play calling. That's what I get out of this.
Yeah, listen, he is the Indianapolis Colts offense, and James, you hit it right on the head. If you're not going to get him a quarterback, B, you start to look at the talent around him. To him, maybe he says, "Look, everybody's going to key on me anyway. I'm not going to get the yards I need to get. I'm not going to get paid as well as I should get paid because I'm going to have a down year based on what this offense looks like."
Too. There's more of a risk when they're going to run the ball and they don't have the play calling that is needed to still spread the ball around. Whether it's the running back, doing screens and play action and the whole bit. You have to have the whole package, especially in today's NFL on that offense, right? And we talked with other teams. If they're one dimensional, you're not going anywhere. Period.
Yeah,
And that's what he sees.
This running back market this year, everything that's going on with the running backs, it's been pretty interesting to see. Dalvin Cook kind of just sitting back, waiting to see if he gets a better payday from one of these teams. Ezekiel Elliott and kind of how he's kind of been just sitting out there in space. People don't value, and teams don't value the running back like they used to. They want a Christian McCaffrey who can play wide receiver, who can, do so many different things for you besides run the ball.
Right.
And when the league shifts like that, guys like this they've got to worry about their demands too, because there's going to be teams out there that won't want to touch you because they think you're one-dimensional.
Yeah, and unless you're just so good, like a Saquon Barkley, then, once you get past those one or two players, then it's everybody else. It is more likely that you're going to be expendable, and somebody else that gets drafted the next season comes in and does the job.
The shelf life on running backs now 5-6 years, and these guys, they just after that, most teams just don't value you the same way. Saquon Barkley signed it was a garbage deal. That was a garbage deal.
The market.
You broke up there. What was that, Ron?
You can price yourself out of the market because once you're gone five years in your career, and okay, so we're just going to get a younger guy that has the wheels just like you do, and we're going to pay less, and we're going to put that into a receiver or a quarterback, and that's what we're going to do.
Yeah. No, James, right? James, perfect, man. Saquon's shown he's expendable. The depreciation value on these players now at a running back. Everybody wants, quarterback, left tackles, defensive ends that can rush the passer. Those are your prime guys first and foremost now. And then you see the rest of the market kind of sway depending on how good the player is. Those three positions are the only positions you sit back and go, they're getting paid regardless.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones, to your point, Ron, I'm not saying we know where the market was. We know your argument there. He shouldn't get paid what he got paid. But think about the fact that he's getting paid more money than a Saquon Barkley, who by far is going to be more impactful for that offense. Because of the position he plays, he will not get the money he deserves. And I don't think Jonathan Taylor will either. So I think this is going to be a bad move by him. But let's move on to another running back, and that would be Alvin Kamara, who's been suspended for the first 3 games of the season by the NFL for an altercation back in 2022 in Las Vegas. Do you think this was a sufficient length of time for the suspension?
In other words, Vegas doesn't necessarily stay Vegas.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very good.
Look, I mean, it's tough, right? You know, look, this is another one of those things that we talk about quite often. You know, why can't these players just stay out of trouble? You know, but at the same time, you know, when people see these players, it's a payday. And unfortunately, there's always going to be those people out there that seek a payday in suits and stuff like that. And now he's got a suspension, you know, for the incident and stuff. And look, I mean, 3 games is a good chunk, you know,
I disagree.
but it's not.
Yeah, I just look,
So
we'll sit back and I'm not going to homer this to death, but Tom Brady gets 4 games for deflated footballs. And
yeah,
if you saw the man's face that he beat up, 3 games to me was not a sufficient.
No, and
But
again, see, we do this about these things, and NFL never gets it right. It never gets it right.
Yeah.
You know?
Put up the comment James just put up, because that's exactly what you just said. They're all messed up. These listen, you've got guys, and I know how you feel about the gambling as well, and we talk about it, but there's guys getting 6 games for gambling, a year for gambling, and this guy gets 3 games for basically busting a guy's face open to the point where he was unrecognizable, and it's only 3 games.
I know, but I don't know all the circumstances. You know, I didn't see, you know, any part of the case, you know, in, you know, the proper setting. So we're just going by hearsay and all of this. And I know for the most part that he probably did it, and, you know, and he deserves to get a punishment for it. But at the same time, again, you know, players need to stop putting themselves in these positions. Like we say it over and over again. You know, we don't want them to become hermits by no means. But at some point, you got to surround yourself by the proper people and put yourself in a better position.
All right. I'm going to show you the picture of this man. Let me see where it is. Yeah, hold on.
Can only imagine.
All right. So let's just look at this real quick. And I know there's going to be some stuff on there, so we'll get it off quickly. But if you tell me how this is 3 games, Ron.
Please don't doubt it.
Can you bring that picture
up? Know, the question is it still in the courts?
Nope. So he got off on that as well. So money talks, I'm sure, but that man's face is completely destroyed.
Yeah, you know, I mean, like I said, it's hard to put it in perspective when we really don't know all the details. And I'm trying to pick a side. You know, I'm always on these players, you know, with these things, you know, but I don't know all the facts, so I'm not gonna begin to judge on what happened. But again, you did it. But what were the circumstances on why it happens? That is a little iffy for me. And you know, the court system again let him off. And I don't know if it's, you know, reasonable to say that he should have gotten off. So, like I said, I don't know the case enough to say whether he deserves more or not. until I know all the facts of the case, and I did not, look into that case with it. So,
Yeah.
but again, it's all that same stuff. You got to stay out of the trouble. You responsible for what happens around you
Exactly. You got security.
because you
Why does he beat the man up and not his security team?
again, that is part of the problem here. So at some degree, even if it was provoked, his fault, right? Because of that thought of, well, if you have people there in security, then why isn't it them that's in the altercation? And you should be ushered out just like any star would be, right?
Yeah,
You
I
think
would think
you
so.
think security is going to let somebody, go after, say, Tom Hanks, and then Tom Hanks gets mad and beats the heck out of him?
No,
He goes all
that's what I'm
gump on
saying. I
him.
don't. Oh, here we go. So cornerback Chris Lemons was also suspended 3 games. I guess he was involved in that altercation as well. Kamara missed the 3 games versus the Titans, Panthers, and Packers. I'm sure they're devastated. Poor Saints, their season's over. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
another joke on the NFL.
it's unfortunate too, Eric, because like, now you're talking multiple players are getting involved in it, and it's like, just why? Why are you risking an injury for one? Just let it go. Like, is your ego that massive that you have to be all macho and have to prove yourself?
Yeah, I
And
guess.
this goes on way too much, and right often have we seen their party where he's in trouble? Never. But what is the problem? What is the problem? It's got to be the ego, Eric. It has to be the machismo.
So let's talk some NFL football that actually happened on the field, and that
What?
was the NFL.
Did I miss
Yeah, I
something?
know. Crazy Hall of Fame game last night, Jets versus Browns. Let's talk about these New York Jets because a lot of people want to anoint them as the team going to the Super Bowl. Let's talk about it, Ron. Is this the team that everybody should be fearing in the AFC?
Wait, who played?
Absolutely nobody.
Right, exactly. So who cares? You know what I'm saying? Like, who cares? Like, you cannot judge the season on the first preseason game that nobody
Yeah,
played in.
and that's not what we're doing. We're saying now that everybody's putting the Jets as one of the favorites to go
Right,
to the Super Bowl.
right.
Is that an accurate statement?
No, no, because they still have to play all these games against all these teams that are about, okay? And we all know who's going to roll. So well as everybody out there knows, first of all, expect some sort of disaster in the game. A butt fumble due just corner. We're going to see it. And we're going to see it. Something's going to happen where, one of their new players will probably go down with an injury. Happens all the time. This is the history of the Jets. This is what you get.
Yeah.
And they're
Now,
all
James, right?
thinking, okay, we got this. We have Aaron Rodgers. We have, all these guys, and we're going to win the Super Bowl. Yay. Yeah. When does that happen?
So, James, right? Preseason really shouldn't indicate for the regular season. I think everybody's just hyping this Rodgers thing up to a point where it's starting to get a little bit out of control. Because if you look at it, he's going to be 40 years old during this season. Yes, Tom Brady and what Tom Brady did again, but that's an anomaly. That doesn't happen all the time. Okay. Last season, 8-9 with the Packers. He posted his lowest QBR rating in his career at 39.3. And he threw for the fewest yards he has since 2013. So again, you're seeing a player possibly on the decline. I'm not going to go the cliff route like some other people on other networks, but I will say that you're starting to see maybe the game catching up to him. That concerns me. Then you've got Breece Hall, who's supposed to be
a lot of poor decisions.
Yeah. Breece Hall coming back off an ACL. That's got to be factored in because will he be the same running back? Will he be hesitant? Then I looked at one other thing, Ron. I said, let me look at the teams that are ahead of them. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to go with the most talented teams in the NFL AFC that I believe. And that would be the Chiefs, Bills, and Bengals. Would they get ahead of them?
No.
Then I said, all right, well, let's go to the next of the next tier. You've got the Ravens, the Chargers, the Dolphins, and the Jaguars. They're kind of in that mix, I would think.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's where I put them.
Right? And then I have the let's see teams, which is these teams could be better depending on if they figure it out. And that would be the Broncos, Browns, and Raiders. So again, there's a lot of teams that the Jets are going to be involved with.
You know, I would throw the Patriots in there because of the fact they actually have an offensive coordinator now.
Yeah, but you also need offensive players. That kind of helps.
Really?
that would help a little bit. That's the one part that they were missing out of this whole thing.
So close.
Yeah,
so close.
And I'm not saying they're not a wild card team, James. What I would say is this, though. I don't think it's a free ride. And I also feel that they could very easily lose in the first round just because some of these teams that they're going to face are either better or are about the same level as the Jets. And there's still question marks at left tackle with Beckham. If he's going to stay healthy and protect Aaron Rodgers' blind side, that's going to be important. You don't have an offensive line, and then you got a running back who's coming off an injury. You don't have a solid backup behind him. I get they have talent. Yeah. But at the same time, you still need to be able to say that they're going to be able to protect the quarterback and give Aaron Rodgers time. That may not happen.
No. And
all right. We're going
to look with the Jets. You know, they have a reckon with, right? But you also have other teams that just play them well. You know, look, I thought the Jets had a really good team last year, and when they played the Patriots, what happened? You got more of the same, and they just, I don't know, they just don't figure it out for some reason.
And I would ask Kenny put up there, Rodgers got weapons. And I'm going to ask you this, Kenny. How many weapons did he have in Green Bay, and yet he still never got to a Super Bowl? How many times were they the best team in the NFC and lost in the first round at home? At home.
The best ever.
Davante Adams, right?
Yeah. Inexcusable.
So I will say this. I don't think they're going to the Super Bowl. That's my opinion. They are not going to the Super Bowl.
Nope.
He got young kids. He's got young kids. He had Davante Adams, who was the best wide receiver in the league, Kenny. Couldn't do it. Couldn't get them to the show. The only year they said that this is the one benefit for him. If he has a top 5 defense, which was the year that the Green Bay Packers did win the Super Bowl, that Green Bay Packers team was a top 5 defense. He needs the defense to be perfect. He needs the offensive line to protect him. It's true, Kenny. You don't want to think about it, but think about the talent that he's had in Green Bay and yet has not won a Super Bowl. So how do we expect him to get to New York now and just all of a sudden figure it out and get to a Super Bowl? He's had talent in Green Bay as well. So you stop, Kenny, and tell me how it's different. What's different? Nothing. It's the same guy. It's not Tom Brady. Tom Brady won in New England. That's why he won in Tampa. Aaron Rodgers won one Super Bowl in his career. Rodgers is still Rodgers. What does that mean?
That means that he chokes
The
in the
big
playoffs.
dog. What does that mean? Exactly.
He chokes in the playoffs.
So don't put him in the Super Bowl. And if you do, you're crazy. You're absolutely insane. Past his prime. Look at these guys chiming in. I love it. Thank you. All right, Ron. It is time.
The little set up to the big fight. You and Kenny go down at toe.
All right. I just figured it out. I apologize to everybody out there. Kenny is completely drunk. And that's why he's talking the way he's talking. Because now it makes sense after his last comment. Yeah, and Bill we trust. 500. 500 Bill. Good job. Yeah.
You talking about Bill?
I think he's talking about Bill Belichick, which again I told you, Kenny might be hitting the sauce tonight really hot. It's okay though, Kenny. It's okay. We all love you, buddy. We all love you. Ron, it is time for our starting five. Bill O'Brien, yes. All right, our starting five tonight. We actually got this from our fans, and it was starting athletes' names with Manny. So I know James has already chimed in and gave. So James, as we're going through, you go five. We'll go five. You put your five up. Kenny, if you've put your Manny's, you could go your five as well. Just go as we go. So we're on number 5. Ron, you are first this week, so you can start us. Any honorable mentions?
All right, let me get my list of all these Mannies. Hey, where are they? Honorable mentions. I have Manny Leaks as an honorable mention.
Manny
yes,
Leaks?
it's that bad. Manny
Okay.
Leaks. NBA.
What sport was that?
NBA.
Oh, geez. All right, I had 3. I had 3 honorable mentions.
Hey, wait a minute. Manny Leaks is not bad. 11.9 points per game, 9 boards per game. You know, it's not bad. Not bad.
I had Manny Fernandez, 35 sacks, 2-time Super Bowl champ. He was part of that 72 Dolphins team. So I give him a little edge there. Nice job. The only undefeated team in the NFL. I also have Manny Fernandez, the pitcher, 143 and 123 with 35. I'm sorry, hockey. The goaltender, 143, 123, and 35 with 15 shutouts, a 2.50 goals against, 2-time Jennings winner. And then Manny Sengilian batted 296, 1,500 hits, 65 home runs. Nobody hit home runs, I guess. 585 RBIs, but 3-time All-Star, 2-time Major League Baseball champion. So those are my honorable mentions.
I have Manny Ramirez as an honorable mention.
I'm done with you on this. I can't anymore. I'm glad you brought that up. Oh, I wanted to guess what? I don't know if you've heard, Ron, but there is going to be a new. I don't. It's not a league. It's a new competition to compete against the Olympics. Basically saying that the Olympics are corrupt, and it's called the Enhanced Games, where you're allowed to juice. Everybody is going to be on the juice. So even playing field, everybody is on steroids or some kind of performance-enhancing drug. What do you think? I don't.
Okay, so number 5. No, I'm just ignoring it.
Oh, I don't know because we got such a delay today. Yes, honorable mention, James. We had a couple of those, but we're at number 5. Go ahead, Ron.
All right.
Enhanced Games. We'll be covering it. The Enhanced Games.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. Next winter, they're supposedly putting it out. And everybody on there.
Number 5, I have
no testing. Who? This delay
Manny,
kill us tonight.
average,
You're breaking up. Try it again.
196 runs scored, 400.
Manuel Sanders. Good job, James. I didn't get any of that, Ron.
Sorry.
Manny Trillia?
No, Manny Mota.
Okay, Manny Mota. All right. I had Manny Trillia at number 5. Batted 263, so not the greatest. Trillia.
Trio.
I looked it up. That's what they were saying on this. I'm telling you. But anyway, 263, 1,562 hits, 61 home runs. Again, nobody hit home runs again. I don't know. 571 RBIs, but 4 All-Stars, 3 Gold Gloves, 2 Silver Sluggers, and a 2-time champion. So that's who I had at 5.
Yeah. My number 4 was Manny Trio.
Okay.
So, I thought he did pretty, those Gold Gloves. I mean, that's key. So, when you're batting 263, okay, the average isn't there, but the defense is just so good.
James, your number 4? I had at 4 Manny Machado. Batting 280 so far in his career, 1,691 hits, 303 home runs, 915. Hey, me and James the same there. 6-time All-Star, 1-time Silver Slugger, 2 Gold Gloves, and a 1-time Platinum Glove. So you think about his defense, which you wouldn't think about. You always thought his bat, but Manny Machado at 4. And he's still going, right? So those numbers could definitely grow. No, great point. Great point. Ron, you're number 3.
My number 3 is Manny Machado.
Okay, for all the reasons we said.
Pretty close.
Yeah. I had Manny. Is it Legace? Goaltender? Is it Legace? How do you say
it?
Legacy? Is that how you spell legacy for him? Okay, Manny Legacy. Manny Ramirez at 3 for James. Manny Legacy, 187 and 99, 41 ties, 24 shutouts, 2.44 goals against, 1-time cup winner. Manny Ramirez makes 3 for James. At 2, who do we got?
I have Sanders.
You say Emmanuel Sanders?
I don't really at number yet.
Okay, Emmanuel Sanders at 2. James had him at 5. All right. I had Manny Ramirez at 2. Batted 312, 2,574 hits, 555 home runs, 1,831 RBIs, 12-time All-Star, 9 Silver Sluggers, 1 batting title, 2-time champ. I love James, though. Did you see that one, Ron? Manuel Noir. Yeah. He was a goaltender, right? Hockey, soccer.
Yeah, I missed him.
Never even looked at it. And James, number 2. James, what were some of his numbers that you gave me?
German I missed him.
Yep, voted best of the century.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. Great one, James. James wins this one tonight. Yeah, James wins this one tonight, I think. I think we're all going to have the same number 1, but Ron, go ahead. You could go first.
Yeah, it's got to be the pack, I mean, come on.
Manny Pacquiao. Pac-Man, baby.
Of course. This is Pac-Man fever at its best, right? It's like, yes, and I would have actually, if I would have remembered him, I would have definitely had him at number 2. So he's right on that. But Manny Pacquiao, number 1 of all the Mannys. Look, I've watched many fights. Many. fights.
Ha ha ha. Good one. Manny Pacquiao. 62.
And he's one of the most.
Yeah. I didn't even realize as I'm reading all of the stuff. So 12 different titles he's held, 8 different weight classes. I think at one point he had 5 titles in 5 different weight classes, which is like a record. But then he's also he's had singing career, acting career. Obviously, we know he's a politician. Like the man's done it all.
Oh, I know.
And at one point, he was considered pound for pound the best fighter in the world.
Yep.
In the world, like he was so good. And I think I would have loved to seen the Mayweather and him fight earlier in his career, because I think when he fought Mayweather, it was well past his prime. Because I think Mayweather would have had one loss on his record.
Yeah, he would have. Manny,
so great
in his prime was unbelievable.
Absolutely,
he was great.
Absolutely,
still
James,
is great.
Yeah, he is. James, great job. Thank you for chiming in. Do you want to recommend, James, since you won this one tonight, is there a name you want to put out there before we move on? Is there a name maybe? Let's see if we haven't done it before in the past. Give him a second here. Thanks, guys. Very good. No, outstanding job, James. Troy.
Yeah, that number.
All right.
I missed it.
Troy. All right. Troy for next week. Troy. All right. All right. I got one at least.
I got 2.
There's like 2. So we'll see. Great job. All right. Let's move on to our next segment, and that's the NBA. And we're going to bring up this little picture because there's some new owners of the Charlotte Hornets. And should fans now expect something different?
Yeah, you're not going to be in the bottom 2 anymore.
I know this team. So I went back and I looked at their entire record since they've been in the league and in where they stood. And I will tell you this, their best win total ever was 54 wins, and that was in 96-97. And that's with Lonzo Mourning, LJ, so Grandmama, all those guys. And they lost to the Knicks in the playoffs.
Yep.
Other than that, this team is not very good at all. They became the Bobcats for a bit, weren't very good as the Bobcats either, went back to the Hornets, have not been very good. Last 3 seasons, Ron, 39 wins, 23 wins, 33 wins, 43 wins. Last season, 27 wins. There's a lot that has to happen for this team to actually be relevant again. Not that they ever were.
No, they were never really relevant. I mean, it's Larry Johnson, correct?
Yeah, Grandmama, baby.
That was their highest point that they were, in any point in that franchise history. And just because you have a very good player, it doesn't make you relevant as a team.
Yeah, bad drafting. Look, the only player they have right now is LaMelo Ball. And again, another guy that got paid well, but has missed some time. NHL expansion team. Look at, James wants an expansion team in the NHL. We're trying to bring back the Hartford Whalers. That's what we want. It's not going to happen, but that's what we want. And I also said this, there has to be a reason why Michael Jordan decided to sell now. I know he got 3 billion reasons why, but I also feel like he knows that there is no way to get this franchise to ever be what they want them to be. I just feel like there was a reason why he gave up on it. Yeah, Arizona screwed. Yeah, right. Bring the Whalers. Take out of Arizona. I agree. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, James. We're on the same wavelength because I'm telling you, man, MJ, good call. Get out, get $3 billion. I think you're going to start to see, look, that Hornets fans are going to be a little upset that it's not going to change. Nothing changes here.
No, it's not. It's not going to change at all. Because you're still going to have the same teams that are going to invest the money because they're at markets. You're talking about Miami. You're talking about Boston. You know, you're talking about New York. So it's not going to change because you're in Chicago. I mean, these teams are always going to be relevant because of their marketplace, you know? And when you're talking smaller markets, that mid-city size, like Philadelphia, that is, you know, part of the fabric of their being is sports, right? You know, so that team will always be in the mix. So when you're talking Charlotte Hornets, it's like nobody
It's
gets
a college area.
excited.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, it's more of a
it's
it's college town, it's college area.
yeah.
And then Kenny mentioned bad drafting, also bad signing. Think about the Gordon Hayward signing. We knew that he wasn't very good in Boston, and they picked him up, paid him some good money too, and he's been out and missed a lot of time. So might have a frozen Ron again. It has been a night tonight with some of the technical difficulties. We do appreciate you joining us live. James, Kenny, you guys are awesome. Thank you for carrying on the conversation while Ron tries to get some of his issues fixed. So you guys think your thoughts on the Charlotte Hornets I mean, MJ smart for doing it, but can they ever get out? How do they get out of it? How do they become a team that most people want to root for or play for? Because right now, if you look at it, they seem like they're just a flailing organization, even with new ownership. Any thoughts on that, guys? Right, very good at possibility. Right, maybe a relocation that may be something that gets them to a point that honestly might help them. Yeah, right. Markets are so key. That's why, again, when we were talking about the Hartford Whalers, as fun as it would be, good coaching. And again, you think about it, they went back to Clifford after they, let him go. And it kind of, they've made a mess of that situation as well. You got to get some stability in an organization before you can actually make anything happen. And I think that's where it is. I agree with you. Mark Jackson deserves a job in the NBA, Kenny. And it's out of control that he hasn't gotten one. And think about it. He would be good with that young talent. He built the Golden State Warriors. Everybody could sit back and say Steve Kerr is the coach and he got them the championship. That was Mark Jackson's team he built. So I agree, Kenny. Maybe a guy like a Mark Jackson who can show them how to get their winning ways, that would be key. Or again, relocation. Maybe that's a possibility. Because listen, North Carolina, they're a college town. They're going college. They're going Tar Heels. That's their bread and butter. That's the roots. And I don't think a team fits there. Ron, you back? You good?
Yeah.
Right now? All right. I was just having a great conversation with Kenny and James while you were missed. And you were missed, my friend. We're going to talk some.
I just don't, being here at Wrigley Field is not very good when,
Yeah.
I'm in the Ivy.
Yes, sir. Let's talk some Major League Baseball. So the trade deadline has passed. Some big moves have been made, but mostly what we saw, the AL West. Who should be favored in that AL West run after these trade deadlines? What were your thoughts on which team is now the favorite in the American League West?
Oh, it's still the Dodgers, right? I mean, it has
American League. American League.
Oh, you said, okay, all right. American League. I'll take Houston. Look, I mean, it's Houston. They've been there. They've done that. And I'm not going to go against them when they have the pedigree right now, and picking up Verlander.
Yeah, listen, go ahead.
No, that's picking up Verlander just kind of like says, hey, you still have to catch us.
I love the Scherzer pickup by Texas. And I'll tell you, their one weakness was their 16th in ERA as a team. He helps solidify some of their pitching concerns.
Absolutely.
They're the best batting team in Major League Baseball at 272 batting average as a team. Most RBIs as a team is 601. and 1,033 hits, all number one in Major League Baseball. They are a better baseball team than most are given credit for. They have the best hitters. Now you get one of the top 10 pitchers in the league.
Yeah.
I think Texas, and they got a game and a half lead right now. I think Texas is the team to beat in the AL West. I think the Angels are out of it. I think that was such a bad decision because they're 7.5 out, and you could see it. They're asking way much of Ohtani. He's already had to go out a couple times now with either cramps or some kind of minor injury in the last week or so because they're trying to overuse him.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'll still take the Houston Astros out of this. And it's a lot like, when Sacramento Kings went to the playoffs, right? They were the better team. They were the better team. But they didn't win because they just didn't have the playoff experience. And I think, albeit they got some players that they did bring in for that. But look at all those players for Houston. They're all ready to go. They know what it takes to win.
I agree with you. I don't think Texas is ahead of them when it comes to the playoffs. I just think that Texas can win this division now.
Oh, I think so too. Like they can because of that, picking up that big arm, that saved them because losing DeGrom is not good.
Yeah.
But it's kind of what we said would happen.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the track record, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
So, but now replacing him with a guy that does it and does it better than just about everybody.
Yeah.
Like that was big. So they could actually ride out through the season to get there. And I think both Texas and Houston are going to make the playoffs, but I'll still take Houston in the playoffs.
Agreed. Yep. You can't playoff pedigree. And then Verlander is playoff tested.
Oh, yeah.
Scherzer as well, but not to the degree that Verlander has been. He's been lights out in the playoffs. All right, so let's go the other direction now, Ron. And we're going to say there were two teams that we really felt should have been sellers, and that was in the AL East, and that was the New York Yankees and the Boston Red Sox. Which team should have definitely been a seller more than the other?
I think for sure the Red Sox. And I just don't think they have any one pitcher that scares anybody. At least the Yankees have Cole.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, okay, Sale in his prime was great, but that's not the guy that's out there. That's not the guy that's out there, and they don't have anybody that scares me.
Yeah.
No one.
So I'm going the opposite way, and I'm going to tell you why as well. If I tell you that you're 29th out of 30 teams in batting average, 230 as a team, would you at the trade deadline be looking at a middle relief pitcher? I'm just asking because maybe, I'm asking for a friend, Ron.
No. Well, and it's weird too because like you're looking at that Yankee lineup and it's like that team should be producing
29th, 230 batting average. You decide to pick up a middle relief pitcher and not get it. At least if you're getting hitters, you say, okay, maybe I understand why they're doing it because they're still over 500. They're still in the race for the wild card. You did nothing to improve the team. You were better off selling. There were players like Gleyber Torres, Harrison Bader, and Anthony Rizzo that I'm sure teams would have been interested in, and get yourself some talent because next season you're going in now with the same exact cast. If they're batting 230 now, I don't expect it to get any better.
No. And, when you look at what they did, I mean, they both teams took the same approach. Let's make it look like we're trying.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's like, oh, we got to do something to make sure our name's on the list.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it made no sense. And listen, as much as the Red Sox, to your point, they got a big weekend series here against Toronto. They sweep that. They take over that wild card spot.
Right.
That's the difference. And Toronto has not beaten Boston all season. They're 0-7 against Boston. So again, even as bad as Boston has played, they played well against the good teams.
Right. Right. No, you're right. I mean, it's so difficult because these two teams should not be this bad. No. I'm not saying they're not even really bad, because
they're over 500. They're in any other division. If they're in the NL Central right now, they're up by like 10 games.
yes, yes,
It's because they're in the AL East and all those teams are playing so well.
yeah, yeah.
But again, to
That's
your
what
point,
makes it. That's what makes it exciting, right?
yeah. Well, hopefully we'll see. I don't think we're going to be very excited at the end of the Major League Baseball season. Just saying. But let's move on. It's time for future prospects, my friend. This is the part of our show where what we do is we've hopped into our time machine. We've gone and looked at some of the top news stories in the sports world that have happened, and we're going to bring them back to you today. They're pretty bold because we wanted to make sure that you're like, that's no way that could happen. But we've seen it. We've seen it happen, and we're going to bring it to you today. So, Ron, you are first tonight. Your first future prospect.
Okay, so I went ahead and went forward, and I went to wild card weekend in the NFL.
Woo-wee! All right.
So I saw that Cooper Cup had the most yards as a wide receiver in the league.
Okay.
The most, right?
Yeah.
And that the Rams actually made the wild card team.
Wow. We're going to do an NFL preview show at the end of the month, and I'm going to be shocked when you put the Rams in. That's pretty good. That's bold. That is bold, my friend. My first future prospect is I found out where Dalvin Cook's going. He's taking his talents to South Beach. He's going to the Miami Dolphins. After the Jets visit, he decided New York's not the place for him. Too much pressure to win. He's going to Miami. He's going to chill out there and have a great time. Dalvin Cook to the Dolphins by the beginning of the season. Did Cup also have the most passing yards? That's a good one, James. He's throwing the ball to himself. I just watched a video with Mr. Perfect the other day, back in the old WWF days, not WWE, and Mr. Perfect throwing a perfect pass to himself. Cooper Cup. There we go. Cooper Cup. You're number two, Ron.
All right. So, after I left, wild card weekend, I figured, hey, you know what? We're pretty close to the end of the NBA season. So I went a little further forward into, the NBA. And, the day after the season ends, I noticed that the Dallas Mavericks were in the playoffs.
What? I don't believe you.
Dallas Mavericks are in the playoffs, and it isn't the Joker, it isn't Giannis, it isn't our Embiid in Philadelphia that gets that MVP. It is Luka. Takes home the MVP.
You want a little Luka Doncic MVP, and the Mavs make the playoffs. That is wow. Wait for the NBA preview show and you bring that up as well. Ron, I may get us banned altogether after this future prospect because not only you like to piss off cities. You like to no more Christmas cards from wherever.
No. You are not going to predict that.
I am.
Not this weekend.
Must know that Luka is hurt. Wow. So, Ron, unfortunately, when I made my stop, the U.S. women's soccer team
No.
will not win their third straight World Cup.
No.
They are losing in the quarterfinals. No Christmas cards for the entire United States of America. I have done it. But unfortunately, their reign is over as the top team in women's soccer. That's what I've seen, my friend. It's out there.
You're out of your mind.
I'm telling you. They lose to Sweden. James, save it for predictions, my friend, because it is on there. It is on there. All right. Let's talk some NHL, Ron. Big signing for the Bees. Jeremy Swayman, 1-year deal to remain with the Boston Bruins. We're going to bring him up because that's a nice
Okay,
picture.
so let's
Is
get
that
this straight. Let's get this straight. It was not like a real signing. This was an arbitration ruling.
Yes, yes.
And remember when I said he was going to get the same thing as Samsonov, 3.55? He got a little less than that.
Yep, 3.475.
Right. So not a surprise. He got what I knew was going to be ruled, and yeah, that's great for this year. But
So who wins in this deal? Because the Bruins offered $2 million. He was looking at $4.8 million. They kind of met midway.
yeah, that's what they did. They split the difference. You know, that's what happened with Samsonov from Toronto, and that's what happens. And now, if he has a similar season, he is going to get top dollar on the open market.
Now, does he become an unrestricted now after this?
He is an unrestricted next season.
Yeah, so he's obviously looking to get paid next season.
Yeah. And
Listen,
that's why he asked for 4.8 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
That's why he asked for that. Because that's what he wants to get next year. And I wouldn't be surprised if he gets it with, maybe 3-year deal. So he's going to set himself nicely. I don't think he wants to do more than a 3-year deal because he's going to want to get an even bigger paycheck in 3 years.
Yeah. So again, great deal for the Bruins when you look at the fact now you keep Linus Ullmark, who was the Vezina Trophy winner, and you got a backup that went 24-6-4 with 2.27 goals against with a 920 save percentage.
Yeah.
Those are phenomenal numbers. They're going to need great goaltending if they're even going to be a contender.
Absolutely.
This season.
And
They have to make this move.
Though? You know what? That can still translate into a lot of wins. Believe me, I'm not saying like they did last season.
They're not winning 65. Yes, I don't think anybody.
But when you have that kind of goaltending, and if they do come through and have similar seasons, at least in how they play, that's still going to translate to a playoff team.
Yeah, realistically, you've got to figure a way to score 3 goals a game. Right. If you can do that, your goaltenders predominantly give up less than 2 goals or 2 goals a game.
Yeah, because their defense is going to be pretty similar to last season. I mean, don't forget, they didn't have Orlov until the trade deadline. They were already a great defensive team.
Yeah.
So that defense is still going to be there, but what you need to worry about is face-offs and that top-line center, who's going to be between DeBrusk and Marchand. That's the thing that's going to be driving, the bus, so to speak. Are they going to put with those two? That's the question.
Jerome Bettis going to play for the Bruins?
That would be good.
The bus coming back. The bus coming back. Listen, we were debating most of the season last year at some point, should Swayman. I think they did him wrong in the playoffs as well because you don't put a guy in Game 7.
Right. That was a tall task for anybody.
Yeah, so the last game you've seen from Swayman, a lot of people have maybe a bad taste in their mouth. That was such a bad position to put him in. And I think if you look at what he was able to do during the regular season, this is he can be a top-notch goaltender for somebody in the future if Boston doesn't hold on to him.
It also put the Bruins in a tough spot too because
financially.
If Ullmark would have been the goaltender all the way through, and they failed, and you saw some of those reasons why they failed. He made a big gaffe, in one of those games, and then they could have said, "Okay, we're going to trade Ullmark because he's not the guy in the playoffs for us."
Yeah.
But they put Swayman in that 7th game, and it didn't turn out so well. So now you don't know who is going to be the guy for the playoffs.
Agreed.
You know, and that put them behind the eight ball because now they don't know who to keep.
Yeah.
And frankly, they needed to trade one of them. And personally, I would keep Swayman because I think he has more upside.
Yeah, he's
Because I
younger.
think Omar, this is as good as it gets right
Yeah,
here.
I don't think he has the same season he had.
No.
I mean, he overachieved. And again, some of that's, we said it, what you put in front of him on the ice.
Right.
And we're going to talk some goaltenders afterwards, and you'll see, depending on the players you had on your team, you were much more successful than others.
Absolutely.
So I will ask you this. This was a funny story that came out, and I just wanted to bring it up real quick. Edmonton Oilers have hired Connor McDavid's agent now to be their CEO. Do you think this is like a conflict for the team? Can this cause problems in the future for this team? So he had to switch agents as part of the deal. But now you're talking about a guy who, honestly, he has a comfort level with. What happens if they decide to let him go? Does McDavid now decide, hey, I don't want to be with the Oilers? Or again, if the organization says, look, we've got to figure out a way to maybe move on from Connor, does this guy kind of halt that because of their relationship? I don't see them moving on from McDavid. That'd be insane. But we've also seen Wayne Gretzky get traded. Yeah, exactly.
And frankly, Gretzky was better. So, I mean, you never know what's going to happen with that. I don't like the fact that they did it. I think that's kind of an odd choice.
Yeah, and I think it gave the player way too much control in the organization now, because now you got your guy. It's your guy running this organization.
Right. Yeah.
I don't care if he's not his agent. He's been his agent his entire career. They have a relationship. He got him paid well. You know, there's some kind of precedent that this organization is going to set that could end up honestly making them crumble.
Yeah, and I don't know the ethics involved in how you even approach a guy that's an agent for a player on your team, right? And especially it being McDavid. How do you even approach a guy saying, "Hey, let's interview you for, I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me."
We have the reigning MVP. Who's his agent? Oh, you know what? Let's ask him if he wants to be our CEO. Like, how does that work? I don't. It's really weird. I just thought it was a story out there. Let's see how this ends up playing out, because I really feel like this could be the makings of something that dramatically changes this organization. They were trying to get to a Stanley Cup. They have good players. I think this hurts them. I really do. All right, my friend.
Speaking of Edmonton Oilers, they are fools, because this was their opportunity.
Here we go.
This was their opportunity to say, you know what, we're one player away, and that's a goaltender.
Amen.
They had it served up to them on a silver platter to either get Omar or Swayman. It wouldn't matter. That would be a massive upgrade. Massive. That's the kind of thing that they needed to do.
Agreed. Hey, it is pick and roll time.
It's time for pick and roll.
And we're going to stick to this NHL theme, and what we've decided to do. 31 years ago, 1992, all these players were in the Vezina Trophy running. Ed Belfour did win it, but we are going to basically rank them from 6 to 1, and those players are Ed Belfour, Tom Barrasso, Curtis Joseph, Felix Potvin, Andy Moog, and Patrick Roy. You're up first, my friend. 6 to 1. Have at it.
All right. This one actually kind of hurt a little bit.
No.
This one kind of hurt. So number 6, I have Andy Moog.
Whoa! I didn't see that one coming. Holy cow!
I have Andy Moog at number 6.
TD Garden. That I don't like you much.
Yeah, he was a Boston Bruin for that, and I remember the season. But his career, 372 wins, fantastic, right? 28 shutouts.
Yep.
He had a 3.14 career,
Not very good.
goals against average, which
I'll
is
these guys.
good
It's not. Yeah.
ish.
Yeah.
Ish. Um, 891 save percentage is not cutting it for me. And I look back, and it's like, ooh, not
Not
cutting
good.
it.
Not good.
Not cutting it. And when he wins 3 cups, all of them
Who's on his team?
all on the bench.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Oh, look at that. I didn't even know that too. Was that Edmonton, right? With the Gretzky and the yeah, so there you go. He had Wayne Gretzky. That kind of
And
helped him.
Fewer.
Oh, Grant Fuhr was their goaltender then? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he wasn't cracking the lineup. He won a Jennings Trophy with the Bruins. Yeah, so the career, not so much. I didn't care for him. My boy on the Bruins was Reggie Lemelin back then.
Okay.
My boy.
All right. Number 5.
Number 5, I have Felix the Cat Potvin.
Wow.
Only 266 career wins. He had a 2.76 goals against average, 905.
Mm-hmm.
Save percentage, respectable numbers. But
One not Ross.
you didn't really have a good team in front of you all those years. So, so kind of not his fault. I think he deserved better. But yeah, number 5. Number 4, I have Tom Barrasso, 369 wins. I think he benefited from the team in front of him because I don't think he's that good.
Come on, Lemieux and no.
I mean, what 3.24, 892, not good.
Nope.
But he won 2 cups, a Calder Trophy, 3 All Stars, a Vezina, and a Jennings. Definitely a product of having all those great players.
Yeah. Agreed.
Definitely.
Agreed.
And then it started really picking up here. Curtis Joseph, 454 career wins, absolutely a beast, no pun intended.
Cujo.
51 shutouts, 2.79 goals against at a 906 save percentage. The only award he won though was a King Clancy, but he is far and away better than the other 3 goaltenders.
Agreed on that one.
And then I looked at these numbers, and I gotta tell you, I thought Ed Belfour was really close, and it was a lot closer than what I would have thought. Yeah. Ed Belfour, 484 wins, 76 shutouts, actually had more than Patrick Waugh.
Yeah.
2.50 better than Patrick Waugh.
Yes.
906 save percentage.
A little less than Rob.
1 cup, 3 All-Stars, 1 Calder, 2 Vezina, 4 Jennings. These are fantastic numbers. And I gotta tell you, I didn't give him enough credit, throughout his whole career. Yeah. He's fantastic when you put all those numbers together. But I still like 551 wins.
Just a little bit.
The 4 cups don't hurt either.
Yes.
The 5 Jennings, the 3 Vezina, the 3 Conn Smythe for playoff MVP, 6 All-Stars, a 910 save percentage, with a 2.54 goals against average. Patrick Waugh, I think he is, in my opinion, top 3 goaltenders of all time, with Brodeur and probably Sawchuk.
Yeah.
Put them in any order you want because I'll take any one of them.
No, they were all great. Now, listen, we were pretty close, believe it or not, except I flipped. So I had Barrasso at 6, and the reason why I had Barrasso at 6, I didn't like the goals against highest on this list, and again, save percentage. So I'm giving the 2 cups to him, but again, I don't think he was the factor in those 2 cups. I think the guys in front of him were the factor in him winning those cups. I went Moog at 5. Again, for some of those reasons you discussed, I didn't even know the three cups. He wasn't really a part of it, which is kind of funny. And then I had Potvin at 4. After that,
He was a circumstance of not good teams in front of him.
6 games over 500. But again, you look at his numbers: 2.76 and a 905 save percentage. They were good. I went Cujo at 3. Again, and then Belfour, I agree with you. It was, when you look at the numbers, very, very good goaltender. But Patrick Roy is by far, you know what I mean, just the 4 cups, and he was the contributing factor to 3 of those with the Conn Smythe, to your point, being the best player in the playoffs. So great goaltenders, though. I mean, all of them really, honestly, at some point, other than Barrasso, to me, were all pretty good goaltenders at some point in their career.
He's definitely an overrated goaltender.
But great list. Good job, my friend. 31 years ago, believe it or not, huh? Those guys. That's kind of crazy to think about how long ago it's been now.
I know.
I was about to break out my NHL Sega Genesis and stop playing with some of them because
Blades of Steel.
Blades of Steel, bringing that one back. I got it, my friend. I have it.
I know. We played.
Oh, we used to play all the time.
To play that and Tecmo.
Yeah, oh yeah, Tecmo Bowl, baby, can't beat it. All right, my friend, it is time for predictions. We're going to bring that shot up. What great participation last week from the whole gang. James is on the list. James, you are on the list. 71% last week, 5-2. We both went 5-2. Manny continues to dominate, 6-1. And then Kenny, very good week as well, 4-2. So we all had winning records. Manny actually got the NASCAR correct. So I think his driver finished in the top 5. So you think about it, we've had 5 straight weeks of at least a top 5 driver we've picked correctly. So if you're betting on NASCAR, we're your sports talk show that you should be following if you want to win some money. But
yeah, and I think we're going to do it again this week.
We are. We're going to do it again this week. I'm sure we're probably going to pick the same guy again. But if you want to get your name on and you're joining us live right now, just chime in with your picks as we call them out. And we will make sure we add you to the list. All right, Ron. You are first this week. So 8-4, you got the 3-game series to start, and actually probably just started first pitch now. Toronto Blue Jays at the Boston Red Sox. That's a 3-game series. That's to get into the wild card spot. James, oh yes, baby.
I am gonna go with Toronto.
So the Toronto Blue Jays have not beaten the Boston Red Sox all season, 0-7.
And that's why I went with
them.
I
went with Toronto as well. I went with Toronto as well. Kenny went Sox. Kenny's going Sox here. James, you got a pick. James going Boston as well. Uh-oh, this is not boding well for us.
Well, see, this is the theory, right? We have the same theory, you know.
Something's got to give.
Right.
You walk on thin ice. At some point, it cracks.
Why am I gonna go with a Boston team that just has disappointed me every step of the way throughout history, pretty much.
Throughout history. Oh, all right. August 7th, series kicks off. Believe it, we're in August already. Yeah, it's almost over. San Francisco Giants at the Los Angeles Angels. It cracks, but not now. Okay, James, I like it. I'm not buying into this Angels thing. I think they made a mistake. I think they're a 500 team, if a little better. I went San Francisco, who's playing some very good baseball right now and is barely trailing the Dodgers in the NL West.
Yeah, I went against the Angels too. I think the problems with Ohtani recently, a little scary. So I went with San Francisco.
James went San Francisco as well. Kenny, you got a pick there, my friend? Probably on a delay.
What's the frequency, Kenneth?
August 6th, Ron, you got the WNBA Las Vegas Aces at the New York Liberty.
How many losses do the Aces have?
2.
2. Well, they're going to have their third. I'm going Liberty.
Hold on. Kenny went Angles. So we're going Angles for Kenny.
Kurt Angles?
Kurt Angle. All right. What did you go? You went Liberty?
Yes, I did.
Ooh, okay. James went Aces. James, I agree with you, my friend. I went Aces as well. Best team in WNBA by far. Liberty only 6 losses, but I think Olympic champion angle. Yes, there you go. Aces. Kenny went Aces as well. All right. August 10th, Ron.
On an island by myself, I guess, huh?
It's starting to look that way. August 10th, you got the Houston Texans at the New England Patriots preseason, game 1 for the Patriots. What do you have?
Okay, so look, we all know the situation, right? Bill O'Brien's going to, coach against his old team.
Former team.
And, the Patriots are going to win, and everybody's going to be all excited to think that they're going to go to the Super Bowl. So, that's going to happen. So I went with New England.
I also went with New England. I think, look, they're going to, this new revamped offense, and let's see what we got. But I don't think Texans are as good right now, and I think they're building, but we'll see. C.J. Stroud, though, I'm interested in seeing how he looks this Thursday night. We got some boxing, Ron. 8-5. You got that's tomorrow night. Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz. UFC fighting out boxing. Jake Paul, Houston backups on point. Yeah. I will I will say this, Ron. If ever I wanted to see a man get destroyed, it's Jake Paul. I really do not like him. I don't care if he wants to not send us a Christmas card, because I really can't. I don't. I think he's a little pompous person who just, so I'm going Nate Diaz here. I really hope Nate Diaz just beats him.
Now, do you really feel that he's going to win?
I think he's at a disadvantage because of the UFC thing. But I also feel like he can box. I mean, but it's a little bit different. But I'm going Nate Diaz.
I'm going Jake Paul.
Wow. Jake Paul. I'm not sending you a Christmas card now for that one. You guys got to pick for the boxing.
I'm going with Jake Paul because you hate him so much.
I don't hate. Hate's a strong word. I very strongly dislike him.
Well, a little while ago, you said you hated him.
I dislike him. How's that? I'm sorry. Nate. Kenny's going Nate. I'm losing. Great.
I'm on an island again by myself.
All right, James. Good. All right, Nate Diaz. All right, we've got NASCAR here. 8-6, the Firekeepers Casino 400.
Wait, you missed one.
That we're going. I just put it to the list.
Okay.
Sorry. Firekeepers Casino 400 in Michigan. We need to pick a top 5 driver. Who do you got?
I'm going to go with Joey Logano in this one.
Logano.
And I'll tell you why. Because he's on the bubble to make it to the Cup count, the series, the playoffs. Yep. And I think he's going to pull this one out to secure his spot.
Yeah, I can't wait for football to come back. You know this, right? This sometimes it gets a little bit torturous. But James, I know James watches NASCAR. James, you got a driver. I'm going Kevin Harvick.
It's fun. It's fun.
I'm going Kevin Harvick. Kevin Harvick is my driver to finish in the top 5. You've got Joey Logano. James, do you have a pick on this? Chase Elliott.
I'll tell you what. I've picked Logano, I think, like 3 times this year. And he came in like at the bottom every time.
I think Chase Elliott actually has won this race 3 times. I'm pretty sure it was Chase Elliott. So could be an interesting one. All right. Also 8-6, my friend. You got the United States women's soccer team versus Sweden. Waiting for NFL to start. Yes, we are.
Wait, is this soccer or is it a hockey?
Soccer. Football, my friend.
Okay, so I'm going to go with the USA.
USA.
Because I'm loyal to my country, like even though we had idiots running it for so many years.
We don't discuss politics on Sports Unfolded, but
no, we don't.
I will say this: I went the other route.
About the what?
United States women 1-2 in World Cup, a one win, 2 draws in World Cup. Sweden 3-0, a +8 on the point differential. I'm going Sweden here. I think Sweden upsets them. Kenny went USA. I'm loyal to the US, but I got to go Sweden. James with me. All right. Great predictions. We'll put those up obviously next week on the chart. Great job, guys, contributing. Before we go into our final thoughts, Ron, and before you tell all the wonderful fans about how they can support our show, I did want to bring up a special guest next Friday night. We will have a special guest, Mitchell Bellacone. He is the author of the book Lance Armstrong's Crucifiers Get Dropped. He will be joining us live next Friday night on Sports Unfolded. We will talk to him a lot about Lance Armstrong and some of the negative things that were said about Lance and how he's going to spin them in a positive way, because he felt like he's done really good things. Again, he talked about some of his cancer research, over $500 million to cancer research, and how he got basically railroaded by some of the critics. So that will be next Friday night. Mitchell Bellacone, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right, will be joining us live. Author of Lance Armstrong's Crucifiers Get Dropped. It is available on Amazon. So pick that book up. Only I think it's like $10.99. Really affordable. Some great stories about cyclists if you are interested in cycling. So we look forward to that interview next week.
What if you're into recycling?
Then we'll get Waste Management to be our future guest as well. Waste Management joining Sports Unfolded at some point. Ron, before we get into our final thoughts, can you tell all the wonderful people out there how they can support and sponsor our show?
So speaking of crap, you can sponsor Eric's double final thoughts every week.
It is a double one again. There is another one to this week. Yes.
So you can sponsor his double final thoughts every week, just simply by emailing us at ribroadcasting.media@gmail.com. We can give you all the information, but really the only information that you need to know is that it will cost less than that whopping burger.
Hey, I see what you did there.
At that royalty burger joint.
Yeah, and we're not paying royalty, so good job.
So it's cheaper than that, believe me. It's like $20, right?
I will say this. We are looking for a sponsor. Would love to get a sponsor on Sports Unfolded. You also have the ability to follow us on all our social media platforms. That little ticker down there has been showing you all the different ways you can do that on Rhode Island Broadcasting, on Sports Unfolded. We are on so many different media platforms now, from MeWe to Threads, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. We are everywhere and anywhere we can possibly be in the internet world. We're out there. So tune in, subscribe, share, bits, stars as well. Donate if you can. Continue to support our show. We are continuing to grow. Looking forward to that interview next week. Ron, but let's go into our final thoughts. You are first this week. Your final thought.
Yeah, I had to crack some jokes before doing this because I probably would not get through it, especially if it's long. So I'm going to keep it short. And I just want to say rest in peace to my mom, who I lost Monday. I do this, every week. And, it's the same, basic principles in life, right? You come in, we do the show, but it's the same thing with family. I go and see her, every week, and then when I lost her, it's a piece of me. So she's never going to be forgotten. Always been there for me. So thank you, and rest in peace, Mom.
very sorry for your loss, Ron. I'm sure the fans out there as well. But I'm going to guarantee you that she's up there watching. And I know she's a big fan of all you do for Rhode Island Broadcasting, and we're here for you each and every moment that you need. Okay, so never forget that.
Thank you.
You are welcome. My final thoughts. I do have two. First off, Diana Taurasi, congratulations. She is the all-time points scorer in WNBA history, hitting over 10,000 points in her career. You think about her collegiate career and everything that she did in college, but she's just as good as a pro, and ended up scoring 42 points the other night and getting to 10,000 points. So phenomenal.
In style.
Right? Oh, she's so good. She was so good. She's still so good. You think about at her age and what she's able to do.
Rushmore.
Yes, without a doubt, in women's basketball, without a doubt. And all of basketball, actually. Let me take that back. And I did want to say your mom has a little bit of company, and maybe he's making her laugh a little bit, but we lost the great Pee Wee Herman. We know he had some scandals in the 90s that kind of derailed his career for a little bit, but as a kid growing up and what he meant to me and the movies and his TV show, passed away battling cancer. And again, we wish his family well wishes as well, and our condolences to them. But that is obviously we've got to end on sad notes. But I do want to say, Ron, we're all here, and we appreciate the fact of your honesty as well. And again, everybody out there that's watching live has given their condolences, and we appreciate that. And thank you for that support.
Yeah,
Ron,
thank you, everybody.
Ron, it is time to call it quits. We do have, again, big interview next week. Author of the book, Lance Armstrong's Crucifiers Get Dropped. That will be Mitchell Bellincone. We look forward to speaking with him. Check his book out on Amazon now. You can purchase it and give him some support as well. And we will tune in next week to see him. Ron, thank you, James. I appreciate it. Next week, starting 5 Troy's. We expect another great list from James as well. Kenny, thanks for joining us live. James, thanks for joining us live. Everybody that's joined us in either present or future, continue to share, follow our shows. We appreciate every one of them. And all we ever ask for each and every week is peace on earth.
Absolutely. Have a great night, everybody.